Let's talk marketing. I've gotten some great questions about how to market your career without getting intimidated by all of the mailings and how do you track that and how do you target people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you so much for the really great questions. You can go to the blog on thedreamunlock.com and continue to ask questions, and I will continue to answer them in this 3-part video series. So the first thing that I always ask folks is if you're making something, whether it be a web series, a solo show, a play, a showcase, the most powerful asset that an artist can have is their audience. Do you have an audience? If you were cast in a show tomorrow and you were going on stage, could you email 500 people right now and fill that theater? If you couldn't, then you're not using all of your power as an artist. It's a fantastic business model. Tyler Perry employed it, so did Spike Lee. And it has nothing to do with whether or not you think those folks have good art. It has to do with good business. You're in show business, not, oh, how talented you are. If you're getting auditions, the assumption is that you're already talented. The last thing that artists focus on, and it's the first thing that they should focus on, is business. Because if you don't have a good business model, nobody ever gets to see how talented you are. And agents and managers and casting directors, those people actually work for you in a certain way. You have to create performance. You have to create content that they then sell to people to put in TV and films. So if you're not using all of your power as the artist, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And everybody who studies with me knows that I always start from the place of, okay, this is our world. What can I employ other people to do to make my world easier? The power is here. So the ability to have an audience that follows your work, that's emotionally attached to your work, those people will not only come to your productions and buy tickets, which is very important. If a solo performer, for example, can demonstrate to a theater that they have a 50,000 person strong following or a 2,000 person strong following, that theater is much more likely to put that play up for $500,000, knowing that they'll make the money back in ticket sales because you have an audience and you can put butts in seats. When I was understudying Clyburn Park, whenever I went on, I sent out an email blast to my fans, and all of the rush seats sold out. That is a client base that I have been serving, massaging, sending them updates on my work, sending them inspirational things. Whenever I find an article that helps me as an artist, I send it out to my audience. I am here to make art in the world that my audience enjoys, right? As a filmmaker, as a writer, and as an actor. I have an audience. When I make a movie, they rent it on Netflix, right? I couldn't be an artist without my audience. And so instead of waiting for the theater or the movie company to take that away from you, use the power of developing a following. And what's important about that following is usually you determine who that person is that likes your work, right? So you're not messing it up saying, oh, well, I'm making work that I don't care about. You're making work that you care about, and you're going to make sure you find other people who care about it too and continue to provide the service of making work to them. And the way that I do this most effectively, you can do this in a small business as well. You are your product. The internet has given us so much power. You can be your own studio/production company/business all by yourself. You don't have to ask anybody for that kind of permission, right? Lots of independently produced artists do it. Ani DeFranco did it. She's never worked for anybody. Most recently, Beyonce dropped an album all by herself. And the importance of that was to demonstrate to the music industry, to Sony Music and BMI and all these other folks, that she has an audience. And her audience is much more important than pleasing the corporate structure, because the corporate structure can't function and make money off of an artist if the artist has no following, right? This is circular in all of entertainment. If you are the one with the strongest relationship to your audience at any given time, not only can you sell them tickets, but you can ask them to support your work by giving you $10 a month, or donating to your Kickstarter, or donating to your GoFundMe. But you can't wait to develop this audience at the moment that you need money. You should be making that marketing strategy and finding your audience a part of your everyday work as an artist, right? If there's nobody interested in what you're making, then you have a problem. You're not actually making it to make money, or it might not ever get seen, right? If you feel strongly enough about a story, I bet you it has resonance with lots of other people. So it's your job to find those other people. Where's your audience? What do you like to write about? What do you like to watch on TV? What kind of actors do you like to watch? What kind of stories do you like to watch? Where do you like to shop? Do you like poetry readings or do you want to go see a football game? Do you do both? Those people who share those things in common with you are your audience. Time to start creating content from that for them, right? So you have a web series or you have a play that you want to produce. Well, write a description of the play and let that be the first email blast to your audience. Go looking for your audience on social media, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Instagram, on Flickr, on Facebook, right? On LinkedIn. Start creating content that is interesting to you and your audience and then send it to them on a regular schedule. Say once a month, right? And then when you actually have a project, you can send it to them every 2 weeks. Or when you're writing on a deadline and you're trying to raise money, a quick $5,000 to fly in your team to shoot, then you email them every 3 days. But you can't wait until you need to start raising the money to create this audience. Because as an artist, entrepreneur, you need to have them all the time. And it's as simple as creating a regular email blast. It really is. I ran a Kickstarter campaign to raise $100,000 in 30 days last year for my new play, Good Red Alley. And I did it. And people are like, oh my God, that's so amazing. How do you do that? It's actually not. If you Google how to run a Kickstarter, all the information that you need is right there. And the most important thing was that I have had an audience that I have been emailing about my work forever. Even when I could only do emails every 2 months. Since the beginning of my career, I have done email blasts consistently. And when I needed to raise that money, and I wrote personal letters to everyone on my list 3 times. The letter writing is everything. 3 times. You have one form letter that says what the project is about, why it's important to you, and why it would be of interest to your audience. And then the first 2 sentences of that letter are a personal address to that person, right? How are your kids? Oh, I really love that show I saw, last year. And then attach the form letter. It takes 3 points of contact to get folks to, 1, notice since they get so much email constantly, and 2, for it to register that you were talking to them personally, right? So if you took all your contacts, put them in an Excel spreadsheet, and put contact letter 1, contact letter 2, contact letter 3, and you would put the 2 sentences that personalize each letter to them in that spreadsheet, you would send those out for 3 weeks consecutively, and you would raise the money. It's actually not rocket science. When you personally send emails to people and tell them about something you're passionate about, something that hopefully you've been emailing to them about before you ask for money, it's a no-brainer. You have now engaged your audience in your success. What you've done is ask people to give you, and it's important, it doesn't need to be $10,000. There were a couple of people that I approached with my Kickstarter ahead of time. It was like, oh, can you give us a big chunk of money and we'll do a matching campaign? But I only had 2 or 3 of them. The rest were my Facebook friends, my email list. And if you sit down and count how many people are in your email list, say you have 500 people, if each of them gave $10, it'd be $5,000. This isn't rocket science. You don't need a whole bunch of people, right? But what you do need is an audience that you've been taking care of, right? That's something you can do right now. You can sign up for any email blasting software. I love Mad Mimi. Lots of other people like MailChimp, other people like Constant Contact. And all of those systems, as long as you're not emailing more than 2,500 people, you can join for free and send out emails every month. It's really easy. Make sure each of those emails has 3 important points, right? People send me emails with pages of text. I don't read them, and neither does anyone else. The minute you send somebody a book, which is an email with pages and pages of it, unsolicited, they didn't ask for that, they're less likely to read it. Whereas if you send 3 sentences, just 3 bullet points, what you're up to, something you're excited about, and you have to give them 1 call to action. Please click on this page. Please buy a ticket. Please take a look at my new website and comment on my blog. 1 simple action point. And then 2 or 3 pieces of news. If you only have 1 piece of news, that's fine. Send them to look at your new pictures. Really, really simple. What's most important is that you give me some solid information, give me something that can be of service to me that will also be exciting to me as your audience, Generally, I'll include an email or a link to an article that I know my audience will find funny, or a video on YouTube, right? 3 bits of news, 1 call of action, and then share something. Or you can make that all 3 points. 1 call to action, 1 piece of news about you, and then, ooh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, and then 1 thing for them to share. 1 thing that you want to share with your audience. It's really positive. That's it. 3 simple bullet points. Make it pretty, make it simple, make it regular. I promise you, you can start doing that once a week. You can start doing that every 2 weeks. You can start doing it once a month. I would suggest doing it bi-weekly to begin with, so you can start to create an audience. Having an audience is the key to raising money. That's all I got for you right now. I'm going to come back with 2 more videos, because in actuality, I am beginning to prepare a marketing webinar, how artists can market their careers. And I'm really looking forward to putting that together based on answering some of the questions that you guys have given me. It'll be a 90-minute webinar, maybe 2 hours, depending on how many more questions I get in. So I strongly suggest you go to thedreamunlock.com blog, and all one word, thedreamunlock.com blog, and send me your questions. And then I will attempt to answer them in the next video. Okay? I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.